Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to take another run through an abstraction. I'm going to start off here today with my Walnut ink. So I'm just going to go into my ink and water and just kind of dab some dots on here. This is kind of an extension of some of the other videos I have made using this abstract technique. And I'm also going to add just a couple of dots of Sumi ink. So I really like working with the Sumi and the Walnut in combination, but you have to be careful with the Sumi, it can kind of overtake the Walnut. So I just added one dot here. And finally I'm going to take an acrylic ink, yellow, and I'm just going to bring a few dots in with that as well. Okay, now I'm going to bring my plastic bottle in, just one I put in the recycling bin. I'm going to take it back out. I'm going to use it for another art tool. So I'm just going to go around and create some marks with the bottom of the plastic bottle. And it kind of leaves remnants, jagged edges, dots, squiggles, etc. And here's my spray bottle, as I've shown in other videos. It can create a lot of great stuff for you. So I'm just going to spray that in. You can see the spidery kind of marks that come out of it, the lines, the squiggles, and the spray bottle does it all for you. Okay, here we have the final thing that I just sprayed, but it's a little dark for me, so I'm going to bring some paper towel in. I'm going to kind of take up some of the excess ink that kind of overpowered. And this brings some other nice smudging to the image as I pull it off. But I just kind of tap it down there. And here we go. We can see even the paper towel leaves some marks as well, depending on what kind of patterns on your paper towel. But anyway, I kind of made it a little more light. And now I'm just going to bring in just a brush with the walnut ink again. I really like the color of walnut, just the sepia brown tone that it brings. I'm not really thinking about a lot right now. I'm just trying to cover the page. I'm trying to see the whole page as a whole. I think a lot of people get hung up on details too quickly and they start to focus on one part of the drawing or painting, and you can kind of get lost that way. So you just want to have kind of an open mind. This is going to be more of an intuitive piece. I'm going to be working pretty much from memory today, and I think we all have things in our mind that we can remember back to, and this is one way you can get an original mark. If you're constantly looking at photographs or even looking from life, you're going to continue to do things that you've done over and over again. And working intuitively through memory, it can kind of jar some things loose and bring some interesting results. I'm going to spray just a little bit here before I finish this abstraction. And this will be the base with what I start with. Okay, we're going to move back into my studio here. And I put it up right, and I've got some clamps that I go to the edge that will keep it fairly stable as I draw. And I'm going to start in with just a road. I'm kind of working from memory of where I live here in north central Indiana. And I'm thinking of some of the landscapes that I've looked at. Of course, I grew up here, so I have many memories as a child as well. There's a state park named Mississinawa very nearby, which I've often gone to. Also near Wabash, Indiana. It's very hilly by the rivers. And I'm kind of bringing in kind of a landscape, treescape here. But I'm going to try to bring the viewer in with a road first. So once again, not thinking about details, just kind of bringing in chalk pastel and blending in as I try to go inside this picture. Here I'm bringing in a tree trunk, and once again, something that I'm trying to remember. There's a lot of old trees around here that have a lot of character, and I try to tap into that as much as I can. And this is kind of a thick trunk base. Great thing about intuitive art, you can really use the colors you want, be very subjective. If you feel like a blue tree, that's what I'm doing here, and I'm going to add more color to it, of course, but I'm just trying to get the base of the leaves down before I go into any details. If you watch some of my other videos, I've spoken about some of my experiences. I grew up in Indiana. I spent about 10 years away. When in my 20s, I lived overseas in Taiwan. I taught. I traveled around Europe, Central America, and other places. But I've always come back to thinking about my childhood. I think everyone kind of thinks about where they grew up. It never really leaves you. My mom was not from this area. She's from Appalachia, and my dad was from Hannibal, Missouri. He grew up right on the Mississippi River. So they came here together probably in the 1950s or 60s, and that's how I wound up growing up in Indiana. So now here as I go through this, I'm bringing in some other pastel. I'm bringing in a light green over top of the blue. This is the time in the drawing where I think a lot of people can get frustrated, and I think we've been so ingrained to get to the detail of whatever we're doing in life too quickly. And it's kind of a process. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to get colors in. This is the ugly part of the picture, I feel like. I'm not sure if ugly is the correct word, but awkward. I'm not exactly sure where I'm going with this yet, but it's going to come out as I go towards the end. I just try to fight through the initial stages of the picture. And once again, probably 90% of people will stop this. If they feel like this not working, they'll want to start another picture. But try to work through what you're at hand, and then go from there. Some of you may ask about my color choices. I knew that the walnut ink would dominate with the brown, and as a result, I kind of opted to go to complementary once again just a bit. That's the reason I brought in some blues, some greens. So I'm sticking in a palette colors of browns, blues, greens, and but different shades of brown. The road is definitely a warmer, lighter one than the darker sky. And right now I'm bringing in some darker color to kind of delineate the branches. They got kind of lost, so I'm bringing in a dark blue, which fits in with the family of the lighter blue at the top of the tree. Making an intuitive image is all about making choices. As I continue on, I started thinking about other things I can add. I'm going to add some more tree line back in the back, but I want to get the dark blue in first to give a separation between the sky and the ground. I would ask you, if you're doing an image, what's in your memory bank? What do you see where you live? I live in a very rural area, so obviously landscapes are a big part of it. You may live in an urban area, but what can you do to force yourself to remember? Okay, I'm going to go back down to the foreground at the bottom, and I'm going to bring in a kind of a shade of browns, but also with reds, and that will also balance off the sky. So I'm always thinking about symmetry, asymmetrical balance as well. How can I balance the image? Right now, the ground's a little too much white space, so I'm trying to bring more in that to balance that effect. I also try to mix brushes. I go with smaller ones, wider ones, thinner ones, and here I'm going to finish off this road once and for all. I've been using acrylic paint, but now I'm going to go back to the chalk as I start to bring in the detail. I finally gotten to an area where I feel like the images, the shapes and colors are blocked in. So now I'm going to bring in some squiggly line to bring in the leaves. And once again, I'm not going to delineate by doing each leaf separately. I'm trying to get the impression of what that shape of the top of the tree would be like. So I've gone from darks to a much lighter blue. Here I'm going to bring in some lighter green, and that will also start to make the tree live a little more. I remember I used to work inside when I was a kid growing up, and I definitely made messes with all my art supplies. I know my parents would get upset sometimes, but as I went along, they continued to support me in what I did. And now I'm going to bring in some Caran D'Ache Neocolor II, and that's going to bring some more detail in over top of the chalks. Once again, going with just a feeling, not trying to delineate leaves, but I'm trying to remember what a clump of leaves look like in a tree. I also brought the Neocolor II to the trunk as well. Here I'm going back into the ground. It gives us a nice line that kind of complements the shapes that I've already done. The idea here is to have a mixture between abstraction and realism, which I've talked about in previous videos, and I'm trying to get that balance. So now, since the acrylic is dried, I'm going to bring some more trees into the tree line back behind the main tree I have. As I tell students, overlapping is always something that can bring interest to your image. It brings a sense of distance. I like that little white and black right there, but at the left, that was from the spray bottle, but I'm going to leave that there. But I'm going to bring in some leaves on the top of the trunks I've just done. And I'm getting close to stopping. I'm not sure I'm done yet. On all my videos, I sometimes go back and add some things later, but right now it's probably 80% done at least. So anyway, I'm going to leave you with the final image. I hope you liked the video today. Please subscribe, please comment. I love answering commentary. So I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next time.